This past week, I delivered a YouTube for Business presentation to a group of entrepreneurs and business owners. And I had someone ask this question: how do you speak on camera naturally? How do you get over the whole thing of staring into the black void of the camera lens and just speaking naturally? Does it ever get easier? And this question, by the way, came from someone who's a really great speaker. She does presentations on big stages, no problem. When she's speaking one-on-one to people or in a group, like, she's a business coach, so she's just free-flowing and has no problem speaking there. But when it comes to filming videos and talking on camera, completely different situation. And this is something that I can relate to as well, because I filmed, I don't know, thousands of videos by now for our YouTube channel, for our marketing. So I want to share some tips with you in this video of what has helped me in that journey, but also some of the things that I shared one-on-one with our YouTube coaching clients that they also found helpful. So let's get into it. The first thing that helps is to understand what's happening, what's really happening when you're staring into the camera, and why does it feel so awkward? And I asked myself this question, and I would ask this question to my clients as well. It's really just what it comes down to is that there's absolutely no feedback whatsoever. When you're speaking into a camera, it's just you and the camera. But when you're speaking to a person or on stage, you're literally getting the feedback from the audience energetically as well, even though they're not saying anything. And so when it's just you and the camera and you speaking, you have to be the judge of your own words. You have to be the judge of whether it's good enough. And so you have to make these little micro decisions of, should I keep going? Should I redo that part? And it just overall depletes your energy. And that's why it's so hard for people to film and get on camera. But here's what I've learned. What you thought was a perfect video doesn't necessarily hit with the audience. And what you thought was a trash video can end up doing really, really well, and people love it, and people go crazy in the comments telling you, thank you so much for releasing this video, it's helped me so much. And I've had this happen over and over again. So when you start to see this happen, you really learn that we are a bad judge of whether or not our filming is good, whether or not the video is good. So I want you to write that down somewhere. I am not the best judge of my videos, of what I say in my videos, of filming my videos, because your definition of perfect is not someone else's definition of perfect. And really, there is no perfect. It's totally subjective. The next thing is you got to make it more about the viewer. When you get on camera and start talking and filming, make it more about the viewer than about you. And this is tough. I mean, it's so easy to get in our own heads about what we say and whether we're saying it clearly. But what I want you to do is imagine that you are speaking to a friend or a client on the other side of that camera. Even before you start to film the video, just visualize that person in your mind. Visualize that they are in front of you, and visualize them asking the question, whatever topic you're doing your video on. So for example, this video is about how to speak naturally on camera. So before this video, what I did was I visualized that particular client asking that question. And when I have that visual in mind, I'm almost like looking through the camera, answering that question rather than seeing it as a camera, if that makes sense. I feel like there's someone on the other side that I'm talking to, and of course it is. I'm talking to you, right? Watching this video right now. And so when you actually feel there's another human on the other side, it makes it easier to speak from the heart rather than from the head and get all tripped up on your words. Another tip for you is talk about topics that you know. And this might seem obvious, but trust me, it's not. People create videos sometimes on topics and start talking about certain things when they don't fully know this information inside and out. And so when you're talking about those topics that you don't know inside and out, it's really hard to, number one, speak naturally on those topics. But number two, it's hard to get into the flow and just authentically share that information with someone. Now, even though you know your topics, it's totally fine to have something prepared beforehand that makes it easier for you to go and film. So when I say to know your topics inside and out, it doesn't mean, memorize everything, have everything scripted and that kind of thing. It just means that you can easily speak to those topics if someone were in front of you and asked you a question. And it's totally fine to have, let's say, bullet points or it's also totally fine to have a script as well. But I find that a script can kind of get in the way of speaking naturally on camera, because that's not how we speak naturally in person, right? Or in a presentation typically. And so what I like to do is just have a few bullet points that I know I want to touch upon. That way it keeps my mind focused on where I want to go in the video, and I'm not going to go off in different tangents. And it's just a few words that I have for each bullet point so that I know I can start off with that prompt and just continue riffing off of that topic. So prepping beforehand, before you actually stand in front of the camera or sit in front of the camera and start filming and talking, prepping those bullet points or whatever you need is going to be helpful for you. If you're not sure what is helpful, just test out different formats. Everyone is different in terms of what they need to go on camera and speak naturally. So you got to test out different things and see what works for you. Another tip that I want to share that was actually shared with me by someone else, this is not something I do, but something that helps them speak more naturally on camera that they shared with me was, they said, Arit, when I go to film, sometimes I'm taking myself too seriously and I overthink things. So what I started to do was I had a picture of myself when I was a child. I think he was like 3, 4 or 5 years old. And so what he does is he places that next to him when he's filming. He every so often looks down at that photo to remind him to be light-hearted, to not take himself too seriously, because that younger version of him would not be so in his head, would not be so serious about talking, speaking, just free-flowing. Another tip that I have for you, and this is probably the one that has helped me speak naturally on camera in the most significant way, is the fact that I film over and over and over and over again imperfectly. So it's just the practice and getting into the habit of filming videos that's going to push you through that, oh, this feels awkward speaking on camera. And the more that you do it in a way that works for you, so again, visualizing someone on the other side, prepping whatever you need beforehand for filming, and you find out what works for you and you practice that method over and over again, it's going to feel way easier over time. And the final tip that I have for you today is what you can also do is have someone on the other side of that camera. So maybe if you have an assistant or a videographer or even your partner or your kid, someone that you trust that can be on the other side of that camera and be the judge of whether or not you need to retake that last sentence or give you feedback on what you're saying in the video. I personally, that doesn't work for me because I feel like that would trip me up even more if I had someone on the other side. Just working one-on-one with clients and managing a handful of YouTube channels, some of our clients have found it really helpful for us to be in the virtual room while they are filming their videos. And the way that we support them and the way someone else can support you is by, asking the question or prompting you, or maybe just feeding you the notes that you prepped beforehand so that you can just start to speak on those on your own. And if there was anything that was off, or you didn't realize maybe that you tripped up on a word or something like that, then they would be there to tell you and say, oh, just pause, retake that last sentence again. And that way you're kind of offloading the decisions of whether or not something was good to that person. And it's not messing up with your own energy, because you need that energy to just speak, share knowledge, and create a bigger impact with your videos. So those are my 5 tips for how to speak naturally on camera, how to make it easier for you to just get in front of the camera, start filming, and share your voice with the world. If you found this video helpful, please let me know in the comments down below which tip resonated most with you. And I also have a few links in the description to some of our best resources that will help you grow your YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.